about to understand the content of the book and the circumstances surrounding this incident or this revelation. Because some Muslims by themselves, they misunderstand the Quran. They don't know what is the surrounding of the revelation. They take the verse as it is. They say God says so, so we do the same. But no, you have to understand exactly when and where and why this revelation came. Otherwise, you are no difference between you and the enemy of Islam. Because the enemy of Islam has we take it also the same as it is and say, oh, see, Muslims are killing innocent people. See, God of the Muslim is ordering them to kill so and so. There is no difference between a Muslim, ignorant Muslim of his religion, and the enemy of Islam. They are equal. Both of them are working against Islam.
Right. I don't know. Sorry.
It's okay.
For Muslims, are there any Muslims that don't speak Arabic, how do they actually then prayers?
The press?
Yeah, prayer.
The prayer?
Yeah. Must it be done in Arabic?
Yeah. I'll tell you.
So they just memorize? Or?
You have to make an effort to go to paradise. You have to make an effort in order to gain some money, right? It's the same idea. So you are not asked to memorize the whole Quran or to be very fluent in reading or speaking Arabic. You are just encouraged. There are minimum limit. There's a limit. There's a minimum limit for anyone who embraces Islam and who wants to perform the ritual act, the ritual of Islam. Like the prayer, for example. In order to pray, you need to know how to greet God. It's one sentence. You need to know how to glorify God. It's one sentence. You need to know how to read these are two sentences. You need to know how to read the very first chapter, the opening chapter. These are 7 sentences. So total 9 sentences. And then one more chapter, small chapter. Let's say the smallest one is here. 3 verses. So that means how many verses? How many sentences? 2, 7, 9, and 3, 12. And you have to memorize the last part of before ending the prayer. That's about 10 more sentences. So 10, 19, let's say 20 sentences. That's what is required from you to pray. It's less than a page. So other than that, you are rewarded for it, but you are not required to do it.
And God has made it easy for us.
Exactly.
Another thing, another aspect of what he said, when we are normally traveling to a foreign country where people don't speak our language, what we normally look at, we take some useful sentences and write them in a piece of paper in case we need some help.
Or you say later.
So, if I am to go for an audience to meet, let's say, the president of China, I know for sure this man doesn't speak my language. And I'm the one who need to speak to him because I have some businesses I want him to facilitate for me. So I will try to learn some sentences in order to explain my problem to him. So I will try to understand how to address him, how to talk to him. And God says, when you are praying, you do it in Arabic. So for me to be close to God, I have to learn how to address him in my prayer. So the prayer, by the way, in Islam is not the prayer as it is mentioned in other religions. The prayer in Islam has slightly different understanding. Is what the prayer in Islam is not supplications as you do it in other religion. It's a complete set of ritual recitations and actions going together. And this is prescribed. It's not you determining it. It's already set by God. You just need to follow that. Like we said, I cannot come to Hong Kong and set my own set of rules to say, okay, when the light is red, I just cross. I don't come here to make my own rules. The rules are already there, I have to abide by them. This is the case of Islam. When you worship God, you worship Him in His own terms and conditions. You are not the one to set the terms and conditions. Unlike other religions, it's only when you need it.
It's just a problem here, and I want to add to that, which is when things are made easy to people, people become lazy to do it. So if I told you this, you can pray in your own language, maybe you will not pray at all. But now I told you, God will not accept from you any prayer in Cantonese or in English or in whatever language. It has to be in Arabic. So this necessity, or this, what do you say, making it not easy for you, you want to do it. Makes you more willing to do it. So it is like that in Islam, you have to give first before you take. You have to say that you are a Muslim or testify that about Islam. You have to work for what you gain, what you want to gain. In other, you can say, just say this, you're done. You're saved. No, it's not like that. When we translation of the Holy Book made the religion loses its essence. That's why one of the reasons we can say that God, or the commandment of God came in Arabic, and it's only He accepts the prayer to Him in Arabic. Because we have seen in others, as I said, making easy to people, the religion making it easy to people, it becomes not valuable. So easy things are not appreciated.
For Arabs, it's not easy, right? It is easy, right?
Arabic is easy. if you go sentence by sentence, any language. I haven't seen more difficult language than Cantonese. Especially Cantonese is like a ghost language.
But Chinese, it's very easy, right?
It's not written. It's just tones going up and down. So, and even the characters is very difficult for us.
So you can also tell them that they can come and learn Arabic language.
Yeah, if you want to learn Arabic, by the way.
Yes.
If you want to learn Arabic, we are arranging some Arabic courses as well.
He is a teacher of Arabic.
He's a teacher also.
There are many rewards, famous one like Husseini. They didn't used to know Arabic, but now they know many parts of the Quran. So it is very easy.
If you go to most of them, if you go to the internet and see the reverts, especially the Westerners, or the non-Arab speakers, you'll find them speaking Arabic. The most famous preachers of Islam are non-Arab speakers, and they are speaking Arabic. Yeah, they gave once they embraced Islam, they gave themselves a period of time, space to go and study. It's not just by saying and then that's it. No, you have to work. And as I said, the most famous ones are non-Arab, and most of them also are speaking Arabic and preaching Arabic. And they know Arabic terms that are very difficult. Give yourself 1 year to study Arabic as a language. But if you don't want, just memorize these. See, that's the problem. If I say, give yourself 1 year, very difficult. Okay. Okay, 1 week. Was still very difficult. Okay, 1 day. Can you do it for me? Why don't you pray for me? So that's the thing. Anyway, I don't want to be
one of those reverts who became very, very famous is called Shuaib Webb. Someone who reverted to Islam, but he went and memorized the Quran. He's someone who has memorized the entire Quran. Shuaib Webb is an American.
Also blind.
Double B. Double B.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was.
Also one blind person.
And then many of them, you have, I'm not sure they have memorized the Quran, but they are masters in the religion today. One of them is Dr. Bilal Philip. He's a revert. And he has PhD in Islamic studies. And I can give you a full list, a whole list. Hussein Yi. And Hussein Yi used to be a Buddhist.
Chinese
Buddhist before.
Master of Hadith.
And then he today is one of the leading scholars in Islam. I mean, in the field of calling people to Islam in his area. So many of these people who come back to Islam, they dedicate a little more time, they master it. And this is because God has made it easy. It's written in this book, when you read in the translation, in Surah Gamma, I don't remember which chapter number, he said, we have indeed made this Quran easy for your understanding. So is God making it easy for people to understand? I'm not an Arab. But by God's grace, He has made it easy for me to understand. When I read the Quran, I find it easy. I find it easy. And the brother is asking how we pray as non-Arab. I don't speak Arabic, but alhamdulillah, God made it easy for me. When I'm reading, when I'm praying, I can recite it in Arabic. And not only me, many other brothers who are not Arab, I can see Indian, Bangladeshi, whatever nationality, Chinese. The people, the brothers outside conducting the class here in Chinese, they're all Chinese. But they read this script in Arabic when they open their prayer. So it's not something impossible or a big challenge like, you know, having a second Victoria Harbour. It's not. It's something simple actually. You just need to dedicate a little more time and you can make it.
Is there any class to teach how to do the prayer?
How to do the prayer? Yes, we can organize that if you are. But prayer is only for those who have accepted Islam. Otherwise, it's a simple exercise. Yeah, like Buddhism. I know what is called this religion used to be called yoga. Yoga used to be a religion. Did you know that? Okay, for your information, yoga used to be a religion.
In India, yeah.
In this part of the world, in Asia, yoga used to be a religion. But now it's becoming a mere sport, exercise in the West. You go to New York or London, you say you want to practice yoga, they say, okay, fine. They tell you what kind of uniform you need to wear and you come and join. It's nothing linked to religion, nothing spiritual on it. So Islam, for those who really accept it, because to pray, there are conditions. One, you have to be, first of all, sane, adult, and be a Muslim, then be clean. Because I'm a Muslim, I cannot just go and pray if I'm not clean. These are some of the conditions. And teaching how to pray is something very, very simple, sister. If you want to consider that, we are happy to guide you, and we have some sisters who can also show you step by step. Something very, very easy.
If you leave your information at the end of the lecture, inshallah, I can connect you with one of the sisters. She just directly can help you how to pray. I mean, as well, you can go to the internet. There is a series of videos about pray as you have seen me pray. That is a saying of the Prophet, and they also made the same videos on the saying of the Prophet. So the program is pray. Yeah, the Prophet. Pray as you have seen me pray. There's a book as well, but the videos will be better, as well as the other sister, and I can show it to you.
But there are quite a few. One is from Dr. Muhammad, about 2 hours.
Now, the best option will be to connect with the sister, because in this video you won't have chance to ask them questions. But if you are dealing with somebody directly, you can ask them, why this? Why that? And I want to do it like this one. Is it okay? I don't want, you know, it's
He's over here.
So just leave your contact and then
He's here, she's here. So you have
Sorry,
someone
we just interrupting you every time.
Okay.
Any questions?
Still some people haven't asked questions.
Yeah, we want more questions. Please.
I would ask, in the 3 periods of the collection of Quran, any interesting stories? Because I think that 3 periods is not an easy job for them.
Yes. Very interesting stories I can relate to you.
Chapter number 12. Chapter number 12 is whole story.
No, he's talking about in the process. Actually, there was in the compilation, you mean?
The collection of Quran.
Yeah, in the collection of the Quran, because I skipped the hadith, it was very long, so and I mean the story. But I will relate it to you now. For example, the first hadith is talking about when the first time the Quran was written. It's talking about one of the second companion of the Prophet. His name is Umar. And before he embraces Islam, he was one of the biggest enemies of Islam and Muslims. And at that time, he decided to go and kill the Prophet himself. He says, what is that, Muhammad, who have changed the whole society upside down and people now are fighting. He have separated men from their wives and wives from their children. So let me go kill him. Then Umar said to go to kill the Prophet, and it was in his way going to the Prophet to kill him. He met with one of the people who of that time, and he said, "Oh Umar, where are you going?" He says, "I'm going to kill Muhammad." He said, "Why?" He says he has come up with this new religion and divide the whole society. He says, "Why don't you go to your own house? Islam already have entered your own house." He says, "Whom in my family have embraced Islam?" He says, "Your sister and your husband." So he went to their house, and with all the evil coming out of his eyes, and he knocked on the door. His sister came out and he says, "Who's outside?" He says, "Umar." She trembled, and she had some Quran reading at that time. She trembled, and her husband was very afraid and didn't know what to do. Before that, he heard them actually. He heard them reciting from outside. He's like sneaking on the door. And then when he heard them, then he knocked on the door. Then they asked who's outside. He came, said Umar, and they didn't want to let him enter at the beginning. He forced and he entered. And then he said, "Give me that you have been reading."
Give me that.
Yeah, exactly. "Show me that what you have been reading." He said, "No, you are not clean." Then he slapped her on the face with the blood coming. So he felt sorry for his sister. And he said, "Give me that piece of paper that you have been reading." She said, "No, Umar, you are not clean, and I am afraid you will destroy. You are not clean, and you will destroy the piece of paper." He says, "No, I give you my promise. I will not destroy the paper, but give it to me to read." She said, "You are not clean. Go clean yourself first." So he went and he cleansed himself. When he came back, she gave him the paper, and it was reciting one of the chapter number 19, Surah Taha, 19. Oh, 20, 19 is one. So chapter 20, Taha. Taha is one of the names of the Prophet. And then when he read what it was saying, he said it was saying. So Umar rose and washed, and then she gave him. Oh, it's not continuing. But anyway, then he read that, and immediately he said how beautiful this text is and how noble it is. And then he went to the Prophet, to the house of the Prophet, but this time with a different face. It's not the face of evil that he was going to kill the Prophet. So when they heard the people inside with the Prophet at home, they heard it's Umar, everyone started shaking. Umar was a very strong man, very powerful, and very aggressive. All the people afraid for him. So people were very afraid at that time to open the door for him. So the Prophet said, "Open the door for him." And then he went, opened the door. He found Umar coming. looking at the Prophet, and then Umar grabbed, the Prophet grabbed him, grabbed Umar like that, and he says, isn't it the time now, Umar, for you to embrace Islam? Then Umar collapsed on the floor. He says, O Prophet of Allah, I swear that that there is only one God and you are His Prophet. And he embraced Islam. That was one of the incidents that had happened, showing that the Quran was collected on piece of papers or piece of sheets of skins of animals when he went to his sister. The other incident at the time of Uthman, I guess I told you that. Yeah, it's about the story of the collection of at the time of Uthman with the companion went to Eastern Europe and he saw that the difference of recitations that they are doing there, and he felt afraid about the Quran to be lost and the recitation to be altered, and then he came back to Uthman. At that time, at the end of the hadith, when they entrusted Zayd, that young man, to collect the Quran, he said, researched, he says that a verse from the chapter Al-Ahzab, they were collecting the Quran, and then he said a verse of the chapter Al-Ahzab, it's a chapter called Al-Ahzab, the parties, was missed by me. He didn't find this verse, and then he started searching for it, and then until he says, until I found it with Huzaymah, one of the companions, and that verse was, among the believers are men who have been true to their covenant with Allah. That was the last verse that they found. They missed. I mean, they used to hear it from the Prophet in the recitation, but in the collection, they have not found anyone that came and told them that he had memorized it. So they went and they started searching for it until they found it with that companion Huzaymah. So that was in the process of collection of the Quran. That's what it is. That's it. Yeah. So yes.
One more question.
Yes, please.
When some Muslims become extremists, are they still following the guidance of the Quran?
Becoming extremists.
Extremists.
No, they are not following the guidance of the Quran, of course, because Islam does not, as I said, it denounces terrorism, and it does not encourage people to be aggressive. Exactly. We are, God always said in the Quran that we are a middle nation. He has created us as a middle nation between the nations that are, have been extremists in spirituality and others who have been extremists in materialism. No, God have brought us up as a middle nation in between. So those who are extremists in their religion, actually they are not in the hadith of the Prophet. He says, do not overburden yourself with challenging the religion. Means that applying each and every kind of religion, each and every kind of aspect of the religion, and do not force yourself to exert more. So the Prophet invite us not to be extremists. Invite us to be moderate in our Islam. So as I said, extremism in Islam is denounced, whether for the good or bad either. Extremism also can be for good, as I was mentioning the Prophet's saying. So yeah, extremism is not encouraged. It's discouraged by the Prophet and by the Quran. If you are referring to those extremists who are doing violence, then we can say still they are not abiding by Islam. They are not abiding by Islam. These are, as I said previously, there are the ignorant Muslims who don't know good about the religion, so they participate in the defaming or the giving bad reputation to the religion. So they are equal to the enemies of the religion itself. I hope I answered the question. Any more questions? Sister, you had one question before. Long time ago, I remember you.
When have I understood?
Okay.
Later.
I have one question. This question is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Quran, the name of Prophet Muhammad is 5 times. And why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Quran, Prophet Jesus peace be upon him is 25 times. And the book is revealed by Prophet Muhammad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes. So, in Quran, why is mentioned chapter Mary, mother of Jesus peace be upon her?
Yeah,
Why not?
These one of the arguments that some of the arguments that we have as Muslims to prove that the Quran has not been authored by Muhammad. If he's the author, as we said before, he would have mentioned his name, or you find his stories and stories of his wife and children in the Quran. Yeah, but not too many stories. It's only one or two stories about the Prophet himself and an incidents that that God has in which God has claimed the Prophet. So if the Prophet was the author of the Quran, you would find his stories or story of childhood or whatever. But as the brother was saying, his name was mentioned only 5 times. And in these 5 times, if you find in the Quran, God is talking to him, giving him command. While in other situations, you find the prophets like Jesus or Moses, their names are mentioned in the Quran several times, more than 5. As Jesus mentioned, his name mentioned 25 times. Why Muhammad should mention the name of Jesus 25 times? That is one of the proofs that it is not Muhammad. It's not Muhammad. Book. Yeah. Okay. The story of Mary. We have a chapter, long chapter, 110 verses, 99 verses. Sorry, 99 verses in the Quran under the name of Mary, chapter of Mary. Why didn't Muhammad write a chapter, if it's his book, right, about his wife, about his daughter, about himself? No, we don't find that. So these some of the arguments that we use in order to refute the allegations of these non-Muslims or those who would like to say that Muhammad is the author or the writer of the Quran. That's not true.
Thank you.
Is there any warnings if Prophet Muhammad is against the word of the God in the Quran? Maybe the word from the Gabriel to the Prophet Muhammad, if he made a mistake or if he against
yeah, there's also some of the allegations we use. Some of the arguments we use that some people also, when they say that Muhammad have written the Quran, we say in the Quran itself you can find that God is blaming Muhammad, peace be upon him, for certain things that had happened mistakenly by the Prophet. Like for example, when the Prophet was inviting one of the chiefs of the tribes to Islam, and he was very serious when he's talking to him, and then he came to him one blind man from his back, and he says, "O Prophet of God, I want to embrace Islam." So imagine the Prophet at that time was very concentrating with the chief of the tribe, inviting him, and he saw that man coming at the back, blind man, and he said that. So the Prophet just looked at the man and he frowned, looked like angry, but he didn't say anything. And then after that, God revealed a verse in the Quran blaming the Prophet for frowning in the face of the blind man. Although he's blind, he couldn't see the Prophet himself frowning in his face or showing any the aspects of anger in his face. He was blind. But still God reveals to the Prophet, says that you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't have done that. So this is one of the things that we can say, Muhammad is blaming himself? No. It is God who blames Muhammad for acting in such a manner. Any more questions? Yes.
Can you tell me where is an appropriate place to put your Quran at home?
Any place?
Appropriate place.
Appropriate or inappropriate?
Appropriate.
Okay, a place that you should. A place that you should put your Quran in. Any place except on a place that is dishonored by the people, like on the pathwalk of the people, for example. People are walking, so you should not put the foot on the floor. Put it on a shelf, put it in a drawer, put it in near to your things that you are, not dishonored. So do not put it in a place where it can be damaged or harmed or burned or tear, whatever. So just treat it as a valuable book. Yeah. So you can read on the table.
Is there any reason if I have a Muslim friend, he will put his Quran on top of his closet? Is it correct to do that or not?
That's what we call it extremism in the good way. Extremism in the good way. Like he very, respects the book to the limit that he goes to the extreme. He put it there, out of the reach of anyone, even himself. I know some people who won't, even if the Quran is, for example, here, they won't come out from the door with their back to the Quran. They won't come like that. That is what we call extremism in the good. Okay. So of course it's not encouraged to do such a thing, but we of course appreciate his doing. I mean, he is respecting them, but that's not necessarily, that is overacting. You know? Yeah. Of course you can tell him, I mean, if you...
Please refer by Quran
So, yeah.
to give
Yeah.
such a respect, or just read and
Exactly. And
understand
the Quran, as we said, as the brother was saying, Quran have not been revealed to us and written to be put there. It's just have been revealed for us to read it and work with the instructions and the directives in it. So that's the purpose of the Quran. It's not because you should put it in a safe. No reason for that. Yes.
This is some of the misunderstanding by the Muslims.
Yes.
Right. Do you think why Allah choose Muhammad?
Yeah. This is one of the things that, of course, in the Quran, we have a verse that says that he's not asked for what he does. It is you who are going to be asked. That referring to God. We don't ask God, why did you do that? But there are some explanations still. Like what? Muhammad is unlettered person. He had no father and mother. His father and mother died at the age of 6, and his mother was the last to die, and he was 6 years old. He was poor, unlettered, orphan, has nothing. And that in itself was one of the reasons for God to choose him. Why? Because this person, if he was a powerful man, from a powerful family, okay, maybe the people will follow him because of his power. Because he's powerful and has the money and has can punish and so on, reward. Then people will maybe, we can say, enemies of Islam may say, oh, the followers of Muhammad, they followed him because they were afraid of him. Because he were giving them money. Or they were afraid of his punishment. Okay? He was unlettered. Means cannot read, cannot write. But still, God gave him what? The Quran, which we consider the miracle. Miracle what? Miracle in eloquency, language itself. As I explained, as I displayed, there was one verse that God says to Muhammad, you haven't read a book before, and you haven't read anything before that. So that was a second reason for the people to believe that this book is coming not from Muhammad. Muhammad, he cannot read, cannot write. How come he produced a book like that? Okay? So these are some of the reasons to show that God wants to show that he can make powerful whoever he wishes. Like the same he did with the sons of Israel. They were enslaved under the Egyptians, but then God sent them Moses to liberate them and bring them. They become at the time of Moses and later